It stumbled here by chance. This found you. It arrived in your feed, in your hands, in this exact moment, for a reason you may not be able to name yet, but you can feel it. There's a frequency you're tuned to right now, a quiet click in your chest that says, pay attention. Maybe you were just scrolling, maybe you were about to do something else, and a small tug, barely noticeable, pulled your eyes. Here, that tug is not superstition, it's resonance. It's the way timing feels when life is lining up behind you instead of against you. There's a doorway in front of you that you were always meant to notice when you were ready to walk through it. And here you are, hand on the handle, breath right at the edge. If you're seeing this, consider it your nudge, your whisper, your signal. How do you know? Start with what you've been noticing. Little things. Thin as thread, strong as cable when you pull them together. You've been catching the same numbers on the clock without trying, hearing the same line in different songs on different days, bumping into the same idea in conversations you didn't plan to have. Dreams have gotten louder, too vivid to ignore. They don't feel like entertainment anymore. They feel like instruction. You've walked into a room lately and felt a hum under your skin, like the air itself is electric with you in it. Some afternoons, a wave of clarity arrives, without warning, no fanfare, just the clean feeling of finally seeing what was in front of you this whole time. And you've cried once or twice without a tidy story to pin it on. Not sad, exactly. More like a release, the pressure valve finally twisting open. You've noticed your preferences shape-shifting. Noise that used to distract you now grates. The conversations that skim the surface feel suddenly impossible to endure. Invitations that used to be automatic yeses now sit heavy in your chest until you admit they're actually a no. Your mornings ask for protection, fewer notifications, more light, a slower first hour that lets your nervous system catch up to your life. And time,
The right page calls.
time has been playing tricks. Delays that once would have annoyed you keep saving you. Last-minute changes have led you to better outcomes than your original plans. The wrong turns you were sure ruined. Your day became the exact detours that put you in the right place, right hour, right conversation. You've even caught yourself telling the truth sooner, out loud, with less apology. Your tolerance for self-betrayal is dropping. Curiosity is replacing shame. That old voice that used to insist you explain yourself is getting quieter because another voice has been inching forward. The one that doesn't need permission, only alignment. Maybe you thought you were imagining it. Maybe you told yourself it's coincidence, the brain's pattern-making party trick. But if it were that simple, you wouldn't feel it in your body. You wouldn't sense this deep, low certainty sitting behind your ribs every time life puts a little breadcrumb in your path. What if all of it isn't random at all? What if it's your life organizing itself because you finally are? Here's the part that might be hard to hear, and somehow a relief at the same time. Most people never get to this point. Most people wait for a perfect feeling before they move. They outsource permission to someone else's approval, to a checklist, to a sign so obvious it would be impossible to ignore. They call what you're feeling just coincidence, and they use that label to stay comfortable. Because comfort, even when it's unhappy, is familiar. They perform change instead of becoming it. They research for months to avoid taking the first step. They explain away the nudge because explaining feels safer than acting. It's not wrong, it's just a different season. But you're different. You've run out of ways to negotiate with yourself. You crossed a line you didn't even know existed between wanting and readiness. You can't unknow what you know. Not now. You're willing to be misunderstood for a while because your body has started to revolt when you betray what you know is true. You're not waiting for the feeling of confidence anymore. You've realized that confidence is what accumulates after movement, not before it. Readiness isn't a mood, it's recognition. It's the exact instant you stop asking, "Am I ready?" and start asking, "What's my next move with what I have?" Readiness is messy, but it's honest. It's not fireworks. It's the quiet decision at your kitchen table that your life will match your values, even if your voice shakes while you make it so. You want a map, not another pep talk? Good. Let me give you one. Something to hold on to so you can see where you are and where the path tends to bend next. Think of it like an atlas for an inner journey that's already underway. The first part is what I call the stirring. It's subtle at first, like a song you barely hear in another room. Your days don't fit like they used to. There's nothing wrong on paper, and yet you feel the seam lines of your life pulling. The soundtrack of your old story starts to skip. Familiar moves no longer bring familiar relief. You'll catch yourself staring out a window longer than makes sense, knowing something wants your attention and not yet knowing its name. That is not you being ungrateful. That is your system noticing mismatch. Then comes the friction field. Picture two radio stations bleeding into each other while you drive toward a new city. Static, overlap, fragments of lyrics from both worlds. Here your old pattern and your new truth are both loud, both convincing, and it makes your skin feel too tight. You're irritated for no obvious reason. You overthink sentences before you say them, and then out of nowhere, you tell the raw truth in a moment you didn't plan. This is the stage where it feels like you're breaking. You're not. You're retuning. What follows are flashes I call the clarity eclipse. They don't last long, seconds sometimes, but they are blinding in their certainty. It's like the sun moves for just a moment, and you see the mountain range you've been walking beside the whole time. A sentence falls into your head, and you know it's the one. A door appears where there was only wall. The map shows itself in flashes, enough to make a decision, not enough to soothe your need for guarantees. That is by design. You aren't being teased. You're being taught to trust. The next part is the threshold choice. You don't get the full bridge up front. You get the first plank when your foot moves forward. This is where you say something out loud. Maybe just to yourself. Maybe to someone who keeps you honest. And your nervous system hears it. You decide in a way your body can feel. It might be an email you send, a call you schedule, a cancellation that used to terrify you and now feels like oxygen. It could be a declaration in your journal that you're not dating your old pattern again. This is a choice that shows up on your calendar, not just in your mind, and the moment you choose, gravity changes. Finally, you enter the integration orbit. In this phase, repetition turns your choice into who you are. The new behavior stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like your baseline. You're not trying to be a person who does this. You are one. There's less debate in your head because there's less need to convince yourself. Maintenance replaces effort. Momentum does some of the heavy lifting because your identity is holding what you asked for without shaking. Before you go thinking, "Great, I'll glide straight through," there's a gate at the border between clarity and threshold that almost everyone meets. It's walked many good people back to their old lives. I call it the last gatekeeper, and it's tricky because it looks reasonable. It arrives dressed like life doing life. An unexpected expense right when you were about to invest in the thing that changes everything. An urgent favor that hijacks your schedule. a dazzling distraction that feels like destiny but smells like delay. Someone from your past texts you just to catch up, and suddenly you're investing the next 2 weeks soothing old dynamics you've already outgrown. It's the invitation that hits your inbox at the exact moment your courage peaks, asking you, "Are you sure?" Psychologically, there's nothing wrong with you when this happens. Your brain is wired to protect what's familiar, to prefer known discomfort over unknown possibility, to interpret change as danger. Status quo bias quietly whispers, "Stay with what you know." There's an extinction burst where the habits you're trying to retire spike in intensity right before they fade. The late night scrolling, the overeating, the overcommitting, the way you say yes to avoid a 30-second discomfort. Negativity bias scans the horizon for risk instead of growth, and, surprise, finds plenty of reasons to hesitate. Your doubts will sound smart. Who am I to ask for this? What if I lose them? What if I fail? And what if I succeed and can't carry it? Maybe now isn't the right time. Maybe later, when I'm more prepared, when I have a better plan. You'll hear your old identity bargaining for one more round of the life you said you were done with. Expect social homeostasis too. The quiet pressure of an ecosystem trying to keep its previous balance. People who knew your past version may offer guilt without saying the word. They might test your boundary with, "You've changed," as if that's a sin. Some will ask you to be smaller, not because they don't love you, but because your change asks a question of their comfort. Remember, they're protecting their mirror, not your truth. You don't have to fight them. You also don't have to shrink. All of this is not a warning to scare you. It's a forecast to steady you. When the last gatekeeper shows up, you can nod, say "I see you," and walk anyway. And so you ask, how? Start small and visible so your nervous system can believe you. Pick one move that slightly scares you and commit to completing it on the near side of soon, not someday, within the next 3 sunrises. Send the email that signals your direction. Schedule the call that moves the idea from thinking to calendar. Decline the commitment you've been carrying on your back like a polite boulder. Tiny hinges swing big doors, especially when those hinges are anchored in time. When your chest tightens and your thoughts start sprinting, use your own breath to bring you back into the room. Inhale to a slow 4, hold for 4, exhale longer for 6, pause for 2. Do that loop twice, maybe 3 times. While you breathe, name one sensation you can feel in your body. Warmth in your hands, a flutter in your stomach, your feet on the floor. Then name one thing you can control in the next 5 minutes, not in the next 5 years. 5 minutes, that returns you to now, where movement lives. You're going to need language that honors your direction without burning bridges. Keep a few simple phrases on your tongue, not to defend yourself, but to take responsibility for your path with kindness. Try, "Thanks for thinking of me. I'm focused on this for the next 30 days, so I'm a no to that." Or, "I'm not available for that, but here's what I can do." Or even, "I need to pause this conversation and revisit it on date." Boundaries don't require explanations longer than the boundary itself. Let your words be short, honest, and warm. Once a week, walk through your life with a quiet flashlight. People, places, practices. Notice what returns energy and what drains it. Double down on 1 or 2 that give you life. Take the walk, keep the morning shelf clear, text the friend who makes your nervous system exhale and gently, for 2 weeks, step back from one commitment that has become more habit than alignment. Not forever, just long enough to tell your body the truth about what helps you become who you said you are. Every evening, write 3 lines. That's it. 1 sentence about a win. A small piece of evidence that you're aligned, even if it's, I went to bed on time. 1 sentence about a lesson. What today taught you without adding self-judgment to the curriculum. 1 sentence about the next micro step. Keep it where you can see it. Your brain believes what it sees more than what it hopes. Let your proof pile up. If you follow this consistently, gently, you will notice a shift. You will look up one morning and discover you've moved from bracing to building. The urge to announce your changes will relax because you won't need to sell yourself on your direction anymore. Your calendar will start to look like your values. Your yes will get simpler. Your no will get kinder. People will start to say, something feels different about you, and you'll realize they noticed it before you did, because your nervous system, for once, isn't setting itself on fire to keep everyone else warm. This is where identity catches up to intention. You stop chasing and start calibrating. You're not waiting for life to hand you a sign with neon arrows. You're becoming the sign. Your presence starts to do the talking for you. Your choices get cleaner. Your mornings feel wider, like your day has more room for you inside it. Coincidences begin to cluster. The email you needed lands after you finally sent the message you were avoiding. The connection you wanted arrives 2 days after you made space by ending the one that wasn't aligned. The opportunity shows up the minute you clear the clutter off your desk and your mind. Say it with me in the present tense because your body listens to your verbs. I move with quiet clarity. My boundaries speak kindly and firmly for me. My calendar mirrors my values. I hold success and uncertainty without collapsing. I choose discomfort over dissatisfaction. I am the person who can carry what I'm asking for, not someday, today. Let those sentences live in your mouth. Let them borrow your breath until they no longer need to borrow anything. This is not about perfection. It's about capacity. You've learned the hard way what happens when you arrive at something you thought you wanted before you learned how to hold it. It slipped. It cracked. It felt like it belonged to someone braver than you, but you've been doing the interior work that builds a shelf that can hold the weight. When you become the person who can carry what you ask for, life starts to reorganize around your capacity. It's not magic, it's coherence. It's alignment doing what alignment does, pulling every loose thread in your life through the same eye. And yes, people will react. Some will soften and step in. Some will step back because they don't know how to meet the you who doesn't fold anymore. Your job is not to manage their responses. Your job is to tell the truth shorter and sooner, to keep taking responsibility for your energy, and to let those who can meet you find you without you dimming the lights to make everyone comfortable. You're going to feel lonely now and then, not from lack of love, but from clarity. You'll walk through a desert phase where the familiar falls away and the new hasn't quite arrived. That is not punishment. That is purification. That is life clearing space for the version of you who doesn't bargain with their own soul. Keep going. Sit with the ache of uncertainty long enough to let it teach you patience. Keep putting one true thing after another. Every time your mind demands a plan for the next 3 years, return to your next 3 days. Every time your nervous system asks if you're safe, tell it the truth. You're safe enough to take the next step. You're allowed to not have the whole route before you start walking. The bridge still appears underfoot, You'll notice your decisions begin to land with less drama, not because your life is small, but because your inner weather is steadier. You'll feel the difference between urgency and aliveness. One hollers, the other hums. You'll stop fighting for seats at tables that required you to cut off parts of yourself to fit under the linen. You'll build your own, or you'll find the ones that were waiting for you to rise from your chair and walk in their direction. Outliers recognize outliers. People who are not threatened by growth will feel like oxygen. They won't ask you to defend your evolution. They'll ask how they can support it. Trust what you've survived. Every disappointment that didn't break you. Every time you returned to your feet when the couch wanted to keep you. Every moment you kept a promise to yourself when no one was watching. That wasn't random either. Those were quiet reps, and they built something stronger than motivation inside you. Not hype, not performative positivity, resilience. The kind that doesn't need a microphone. The kind that knows it can hold what comes next because it has already held so much. So if these words are landing differently than they would have 6 months ago, if you recognize yourself in the rhythm of this conversation, then you already know this is not about inspiration. It's about the smallest possible action that proves to your body you meant what you said. Before today ends, do one thing your future self will thank you for. Open the document and type the first sentence. Walk for 12 minutes without your phone. Put the snack back and pour a glass of water. Text the mentor. Turn the notification off. Cancel the plan that you agreed to out of habit. And when your guilt flares, breathe and tell yourself the truth about your capacity this week. This is how readiness becomes real, by becoming evidence. Keep a promise with your breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6, pause for 2. When the rush returns, go back to that cycle. It gives you a way to stay in the room when your thoughts try to drag you into the future's what-ifs or the past's greatest hits. If you can stay, you can choose. If you can choose, you can change. It's that simple, and that difficult, and that worth it. Let this be the moment you stop negotiating with the part of you that only feels safe in the old story. Thank it for its service. It kept you alive, often beautifully, often at great cost, and let it know you're driving now. You're allowed to want more and to walk toward it without apology. You don't need to announce any of this to anyone. You can, if it helps anchor you. A declaration is a powerful way to mark the shift to yourself. Sometimes the most honest way to turn a page is to say the words out loud, even if no one else is in the room. I'm ready. Say it once quietly. Say it with your hand on your chest. I'm ready to receive and hold what I ask for. Notice what your body does when you say that. Notice where the yes lives. That's your compass. If you want to plant a flag in public, plant it. Type the words, I'm ready, in the comments. Not to perform, but to witness yourself. There's a community gathering around this signal. People who decided to stop waiting for perfect timing and make timing perfect by moving. If someone comes to mind while you're listening, someone who's been stuck in wanting and is right at the edge of readiness, send this to them, not as pressure, as permission. Be the signal you wished you had when you were trying to decipher your own. From here, your life won't suddenly become easy. It will become aligned. Some days will be loud, some will be plain, but beneath all of it, there will be a steadiness, a through line. You'll trust yourself sooner. You'll course correct faster. You'll waste less time arguing with your own knowing. You'll fall asleep more tired from building than from pretending. And when the next signal arrives, it won't have to shout. You'll already be listening. This is the part where you choose, Not by clenching, by allowing, by stepping where the floor appears, and letting the bridge build itself under your feet. Readiness is not out there, it's here.